got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind. You got me stuck on the thought of you. You're making me feel brand new. You're more than a sunshine in my eyes. I'm feeling like this might be my time to shine with you, with you, with you. I got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes.
Hi, welcome to In the Middle and Out of the Box, episode 17. So, just to go over some updates today, I just want to briefly go over a couple things. I just want to remind everybody again that, the whole purpose of this podcast is to kind of bring the cities together and try to utilize the things that are working really good in the cities and share knowledge and so forth. I mentioned some of that last time with Sargassum and how the different cities were asking me what everyone else was doing. And it's so important if something's working to share. And the same thing goes for the residents, right? So I had done an episode on the Boca Raton Historical Society, and I just noticed that it didn't have the numbers that we're looking for. And it's just a shame because, we've got to somehow get over this. Well, that's Boca or that's Del Rey. I personally live in Highland Beach and I've gone to both Boca and Del Rey historical societies. I mean, the crossover just alone, even when she was speaking in the Boca Raton episode of how many architects and designers and so forth and business people were involved in Boca and the history and the architecture. There's just constant crossover. So it's really important to kind of get over this whole Boca Del Rey thing. I don't know what you want to call it, and try to enjoy each other's cities. They might look different, like we talked about. That doesn't mean they're going through different things than you're going through in your city. So everybody has problems. We've talked about this with traffic and parking and buildings and development, and so everybody's going through the same thing. So we actually have a lot more in common than you would think. So I just wanted to kind of give that little reminder that that's the whole purpose of this, is not only to watch episodes when it has to do with your city, but it's also to watch them when it's a city right next to you too. Okay, so today's discussion is going to be about dogs, right? So where do we bring our dogs? Where do we bring our dogs? Everybody's always on all these posts, where do we bring our dogs? We want to bring our dogs to the beach, to the park. And it's just, I know that we have so many new residents down here too, and everybody's asking, where can we bring our dogs? Well, you can't really bring them there, but they don't really enforce it here. They don't. So I'm going to go over city by city and just talk about what you can do with your dogs and what you're supposed to be doing with your dogs. And so we're going to start with that. So where do we bring our dogs? So let's start with Boca, right? So East Boca has Bark Beach, which is right on Spanish River Beach. You can park either on Spanish River or go into their park. They have access certain days. It's located between Lifeguard Towers 18 and 20, so you can bring your dog right on the beach. Now, here's some pictures and examples of what it's like on Spanish River. So they are open Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays for Bark Beach because they only use certain days and times for the dogs on the beach. It's not like a 24/7, always it's a dog beach. So only Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 3 p.m. to sunset. And again, that changes with daylight savings time and so forth. So you have to really know the times and the hours, but it's pretty simple. It's pretty much just the weekend. Now, they do allow non residents that are not in the city limits to purchase a dog permit to go on Bark Beach and Spanish River, which is great because, from what I understand, they do ask for permits once in a while. They come up to you and ask you for a permit, so make sure you have a permit. But again, it's not that much. For the whole year, it's $210, but you get to go every weekend to the beach with your dog, which is great. And so I thought, that's a great idea, right? That they actually have a Bark Beach. It's not all the time, and it's for the weekends when most people aren't working, and it gives you an opportunity to bring your dog to the beach. So again, I live very close to Spanish River. I've been to Spanish River Beach many times. It's a very nice beach. It's quiet, usually. It's very nice. So it's a perfect place for a dog beach. They also have, a full set of rules. Obviously, they want you to make sure you have waste bags with you. They're not supposed to dig in the sand. They're not going to create a nuisance. Only a limit of 2 dogs allowed per person. and make sure again that the permit holder has to carry their permit at all times. But again, it's a opportunity to bring your dog to the beach. Okay, the next one is in Mid Boca. It's right off of Military, again in East Boca, and it's called Meisner Park. And I've been to this park also myself with my dogs when we used to live in Boca. And it's a very nice park. I think it has three different fenced areas, which is nice. I think it's small, medium, and large because you always have that kind of middle ground there where you don't really know what to do. So it's kind of nice that you have three different sizes. And they do have water fountains, water stations. They have doggy bags. There are no restrooms on this property, but it's just nice. Like maybe, after work one day, if you want to just go and let the dog run around and have fun with other dogs, it's a great place to do that. It's very well kept. And I think I have some pictures here. There's some nice trees, again, for shade. You do need to have a pass. This one's a little bit more expensive. This is a non-resident is $335 for the year. And again, if you're a resident, there's no charge. So you can pay for a non-resident monthly fee pass, which is $30. So that's reasonable. So again, if you want to go a couple months of the year, or if you have a work that's more busy at certain times of the year and not going to really be using it that much, this is another option too. It follows kind of all the same rules as Spanish River did. Again, you have to pick up after your dog. There's no smoking. They're only allowed to run off leash in the fenced areas and so forth. Definitely should check that one out. That's a nice park. Okay, now this one is West Boca Canine Cove. So West Boca is a really nice dog park. It's relatively new. It's about 10 years old or so. And very nice. It's right on the water at the edge of the golf course and the lakes. And they do have three separate areas also, large, medium, and small. They have a playground for the kids off to the side. And just it's a very nice dog park. And so again, this is another option. And here are some more pictures. And their hours of operation are sunrise to sunset. They're closed on Wednesdays, noon to 3 for maintenance. Now, this is outside the city limits, so this is actually a county park. So there is no fee for this, and it's free. So that's good to know too. And it's really not that far, and it's a nice park for the dogs. Okay, now Delray Beach doesn't really have anything for dogs, right? So they don't really have a dog beach. They don't have dog parks. So the closest thing we have for Delray Beach is Lake Ida, right? Which is really kind of Boynton-ish. It's located in Lake Ida West County Park. It has two sections, one for large and one for small. And I know that I've been there once, I think it was. I know that there's always been there seems to be a lot of issues there. I'm not really sure what the issues are. I don't know whether it's just larger breeds go there. I don't know what the problem is, but overall, there's a lot of people that don't seem to want to go to the park there. I don't know why, but so as far as I've been there once, it was okay. Is if you want a dog park, it's a great dog park, right? So it's just a place to have the dogs run around and have fun. So definitely give it a try if you're in that area. I know that the city is not, really for any kind of dogs on the beach. I know a lot of people go and put their dogs on the beach in the northern part of Delray Beach on the beach. But again, that's not really where you're supposed to be with the dogs. And again, I'm a dog person. I love dogs. I have a dog, so it's not that I'm anti-dog, but it's just really not fair to the homeowners that are over there. Their property goes to the high water mark, so you're kind of really in their backyard as you're walking in front of their homes. And so anyway, so that's just something to think about. I don't know if they're enforcing it or not. I know they started to, and I'm not sure. So that you take it at your own risk at this point, as far as Delray is concerned. Okay, so now Highland Beach again has private beaches. There's no, when we say Highland Beach has private beaches, what we mean by that is there's no public beach, right? So you can't go park somewhere to go to the beach. There's no access point for the public. So basically, it's just all the large homes that are on the beach, and the condos. There's a couple condos, and there's not really a place, there's no public parking. So that's why we say it's a private beach. So it still falls under the same laws that everybody else has, which is from the high water mark down is public beach. from the high water mark above is that person's usually property that's on their deed. So is private. So that's why if there's no parking anywhere to park, you can't really walk on the public part of the beach because there's nowhere to park your car. So that's why we say there's private beaches. So there's no public beach. Eventually, they're going to have Milani Park, which is on the south side of Highland Beach, almost on the border of Boca, and they're going to open that up probably within the next 5 years or so. And that will have an access point to a beach. It's going to be very limited parking though. So, but for right now, they're private beaches. So, again, you are allowed to walk your dog on these beaches in Highland Beach. It's basically all residents right there, the owners that are living on the beach or across the street on the intercoastal. And are required to have them on leash though, as far as the codes in Highland Beach. So that's kind of important to know. So I kind of briefly went over what each town has as far as dogs and pets and things like that. But there's a lot of other places you can bring your dogs, right? So a lot of the restaurants, especially in Delray, which is good, are very dog friendly. They allow you to bring your dog up to the restaurant and sit outside. They bring out a water bowl. They'll bring out, food if you all order it. Atlantic Avenue, Pineapple Grove. There's a lot of art fairs, right? So a lot of people bring their dogs to in Boca and Delray. Whenever there is art fairs, you see them walking up and down, and obviously they expect you to pick up after them. But again, very dog friendly. Boca and Delray are very dog friendly. A lot of stores, right? So there's a lot of stores. I saw a cute one, Scoopy Doo's, right? It's in Delray, right on Atlantic Avenue East. And they cater to making ice cream for dogs and birthday cakes for dogs and have all kinds of different things for dogs that you can bring your dogs into. And then you also have your PetSmart and your pet supermarket and things like that. But you also have Meisner Park, right? So in addition to Atlantic Avenue, you can walk your dog up and down in Meisner Park. A lot of people do that. Again, making sure you clean up after them. So overall, it's a very dog-friendly area. One of the things that it's interesting is that, I have a lot of friends that are in condos and so forth, and a lot of these condos have these very antiquated rules about dogs, right? So years ago, there never used to be dogs allowed in these condos. And then it slowly started, right? And this is before the big migration. I'm talking about, 10, 15 years ago. Then it was a lot of people had second homes here from New York or Chicago or in the Midwest, and everybody had a dog, right? So then they would put rules and regulations in that, well, we allow one dog, but it has to be under 15 or 20 pounds. You can't have a large dog. You can't even have like a large breed that's very docile, like, a Labrador Retriever, things like that. No, it has to be like small, like a 15 or 20-pound dog, which, okay, is pretty fair. And the reason why they did that is because they didn't want the dog to have to walk in the lobby area or on the floors, right? So they wanted a dog when they made these rules back in the day, that you could actually just pick up and hold, right? So that you could walk in the lobby and be holding your dog and not have it on the ground. Okay, fast forward maybe 5 years ago or so, before everything that happened, and a lot of people started migrating down here, right? Because of the weather. And then especially, when they were able to work remotely, everybody started moving down here and being able to work here. And so everybody had dogs, right? So everybody had family dogs. The whole families are coming down. The singles are coming down. And so again, the problem is none of these condos allow dogs, right? So now we go down the whole, well, we're going to just, make everybody an ESA dog, right? So I'm not even going to get into that because that's a political thing, which I'm not getting into. But the point is that, now we have all these buildings and they're all filled with these ESA dogs, right? And I have a friend of mine and she lives in a building and they are fighting these ESA dogs tooth and nail. It's not a dog building, and I think they have like 40 dogs now. And, she's saying that everybody's complaining about, there's poop everywhere and no one's picking up and there's so many dogs in every place and this and that. And I said, well, first of all, I said, you instead of fighting this, like just keep fighting it, right? Times have changed, rules have changed. Let's fast forward to current. And I said, if they have ESA dogs, which they're allowed to by the law, then instead of fighting them on this, I said, put the dog poles, the waste centers, right? Where you put the pole goes in the ground. They have a nice little garbage can and they have the little baggies right on top of it. And I said, so instead of fighting these people, try to work with them, right? So if you actually have these dog waste centers all throughout your property on the condo, they actually are going to be able to like find bags and have a garbage. And so again, even though they're there and people don't like that they're there, at least hopefully they're picking up better now that you actually have waste centers for them. So again, this is a perfect example of just the old fighting the new and the rules and the antiquated, and that's not how it used to be. And again, we got to work together, right? So come up with solutions, right? The solutions are, yes, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side you think, they're allowed ESA dogs. So in addition to that, if they're going to be in your building, then put some dog waste stations there so you don't have a problem. Most people are good and they will usually pick up after their dog if they have something there to do it with, right? A garbage and a bag. So again, it just seems so silly to go through all this and fighting and arguing and what you wind up with is just a condo full of poop anyway, because you refuse to put waste stations out. So that's just a perfect example of, times change. Change is hard for everybody. We know that. But you just have to think a little bit outside the box and try to work with everything going on rather than against it. So I just wanted to mention that example because, I hear her trials and tribulations constantly. And I'm just like, well, why don't you guys just put a dog waste center throughout the property? And she's like, well, I don't think they'll do that. I said, okay. Anyway, moving on. Okay. So I did get an email from a person that was asking me about, they had watched the Diverging Diamond episode and they wanted to get more specific information on the actual walkway that's going to be going down the middle of it. And because I guess they felt that, I guess they have either high school or middle school kids, and they wanted to make sure that it was going to be safe once it was completed. Now, obviously, we know it's still under construction, and we know that they're going to be closing down. I think it's not this weekend, it was just postponed, but next weekend, I think, to finish it once and for all, hopefully, which is still ahead of schedule. But I'm saying once it's complete, he wanted to see if it was going to be safe and he wanted a little bit more information if we could focus on that. So I said, sure. So I kind of went through, and there's not a lot. There's really not a lot as far as real detail information on the walkways and on the pedestrian walkways. So, you kind of see them on these maps that they put out, but they're very high level and they're kind of like sky view. So I really scoured and I found two kind of clips. They're only the actual video of the portion that talks about the pedestrian walkway. And I think that's probably going to be the best I can do. Again, I can just show you a map, but it's going to be just very high up. And again, it's not really giving you the detail that probably most people are looking for. And I'll come back to you after these two videos about it and we'll talk a little bit about it more. All right, so again, these are very short clips and it's only for the pedestrian walkway access.
Pedestrians and cyclists will also enjoy the many benefits of this innovative design. Dedicated multi-use lanes and crosswalk signals make it easier and safer for all users navigating their way through the interchange. The DDI at the I-95 Glades Road interchange is an innovative and impactful solution to contemporary transit needs, designed to decrease travel time, increase safety, and improve mobility for the comprehensive variety of travelers to and through the area.
When a DDI is designed to direct pedestrians to a center walkway, a wide area between opposing traffic allows the opportunity for a large sidewalk down the center. This center area is often bordered by concrete barrier to allow additional protection for pedestrians.
Okay, so hopefully that gives you a little bit better idea of, kind of how it's going to work again once it's complete, 100%. I don't know. I mean, I obviously it's up to every parent. It's their own children, their own decisions. I would think I would be still a little bit nervous with that. But again, if they're in large groups coming from school, I mean, I remember back in high school and middle school, we all walked in packs, right? So if you're in a large pack, you have a safe sidewalk there, you have lights right there, you have a giant crosswalk, and then you walk down the middle of the overpass that's all fenced in. So, again, I think it depends on your child. I think it depends on how many people are with them, what time of day, and so forth. So you have to make those decisions. But I did want to make sure that I responded to your request for additional information on the walkover on the overpass. And I hope it helps. Okay, so today, be prepared. I'm just letting you know. I have a lot of science and technology and art today. So sit back and there's going to be a lot of clips, and if that's your thing, this is your episode. So lots of fun stuff came out this week, and I just kept piling it on and piling it on. And I knew the dog park wasn't going to take too much time, so I just wanted to make sure that we had some really good stuff for you guys. So the first thing we're going to talk about for the car enthusiasts is BMW again. Now, I don't know if you remember from a prior episode, but I showed a BMW that actually you could change the color of the car on your phone, depending on what color you felt like you wanted it at that moment in time, which was just astounding, right? And also the pattern. They had different patterns, like diamond patterns and things like that. So that was in one of the prior episodes. Now, BMW has actually come out with aerodynamic conforming body panels so that when you start driving, the tires start going, the frame or the body of the car actually goes out to make room for the tire and then goes back in when it's done. So it's really kind of interesting to watch. So take a quick look and we'll be right back. Lots more to come.
Check this out. It opens up when the tire moves. Look at it opening up there.
Okay, so I wanted to show this turtle rescue because this was really interesting. I thought to myself, what would I do in this situation? And I probably would do the same thing, right? So we've talked about how you're not supposed to touch the turtles, of course, and I'm not promoting that. But this was just, again, one of those things like, what do you do, right? So I just wanted to show you this little clip, and we'll be back. Okay, so next now we talked about tires, right? I think it was 1 or 2 episodes ago. I showed you the brand new tires that are coming out by Michelin and also going to be Goodyear later on this year, but they're actually out now with Michelin. They're on the Mini Coopers and they're coming here on the Chevy Volts, and they're punctureless, and they're going to last longer. And I saw this and I was like, how appropriate is this, right? How times have changed and people's thinking. And how at one time this was seemed like this was a fantastic idea, right? I mean, this video clip is just amazing how they're like, hundreds of boats helped us bring all the tires out to dump in the ocean. And everybody was so happy and excited. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. Right. So again, I just want to show you where we've come. It's pretty interesting. So again, watch this clip.
Have you ever heard of the 2 million tire catastrophe? In 1972, Broward Artificial Reef Inc. hatched a plan to dump 2 million tires into the ocean. They were meant to act as artificial reefs. Hoping to create new homes for aquatic life, the effect ended up being disastrous. An overwhelming amount of enthusiasm was shown to the project, with over 100 privately owned boats volunteering to help dump them, as well as the USS Thrush and even Goodyear tires. The Goodyear blimp even dropped a gold-painted tire into the ocean to kick off the project. Although the intentions were good, this is what happened. Tires began washing up on beaches, little to no sea life grew on them, and the loose tires became a coral killing machine.
So this was really important. So this is a plane. It's called the Cirrus SR-22. It's a newer plane, and it comes with a parachute option. And I know they've had these for a while, but they've really perfected this. And it's just amazing watching this clip. These people took off. There was an engine problem. They landed, and there was a newborn and a small child and a parent, I think parent or two on board. And so far, this type of option for this plane that's just recently put into production was over 249 people have been saved by this. So if you think about all these small planes, this particular model in itself has saved 249 people because of this option. So take a look, and I found it fascinating. Again, I've heard about this, I've known about it, but to actually see it in action is just incredible. Okay, now this is kind of fun. This is a Walter Cronkite, who most of you people probably don't know, the younger ones. He was a very distinguished news person of the time back in the day. I think it was 50s and 60s and so forth and 70s. And before my time too. So he actually put this video out about, the home of the 2000s, right? So what the homes would look like in the year 2000. And he did this, I think it was in the early 60s. And it's just amazing how some of the ideas that they thought about are kind of true, and some that they're really kind of far off on. So I think the work week was one of them. And so anyway, take a look at this. I think a lot of people will enjoy how people back then thought the 2000s were going to be.
Projects that by the year 2000, the United States will have a 30-hour work week and month-long vacations as the rule. A lot of this new free time will be spent at home, and this console controls a full array of equipment to inform, instruct, and entertain the family of the future. We could watch a football game, or a movie shown in full color on our big 3D television screen. This console provides a summary of news relayed by satellite from all over the world. I might check the latest weather. A telephone is this instrument here. If I want to see the people I'm talking with, I just turn the button and there they are. With equipment like this in the home of the future, we may not have to go to work. The work would come to us.
Okay, so now this one is really interesting, right? I did that whole episode on, I think it was condos, the fate of condos, but I also talked about sharks coming ashore. So lo and behold, what pops up on my feed, but this giant marlins popping up on the shore, on the sand, which is exactly what I'm talking about. So obviously this isn't just sharks. So it was really interesting. I'm like, I've got to show this because they think I'm nuts. So anyway, here is a marlin coming up on shore in Florida. Okay, now we're going to end on this incredible video of this girl. She is just excited beyond belief about this sink. She is just so excited about this new type of sink that's come out now that everybody wants, I'm assuming. And the features on it alone, I want one. So, but she's just explaining it and it's just hysterical. And she's like, even the water comes out in a geometric pattern. I mean, like everything about this sink is something she has to have. So I just thought, again, this is really great technology, how they're making these things more and more user-friendly, and they have so many different options on them. So again, just something about what's new and coming up in sinks. For those of you that are redoing your homes, this is a perfect sink to have. So enjoy.
Wait till you guys see this. This is incredible. I feel like I could sell a house if this sink was in the house. I mean, bottle washer, I'm thinking big bottles, water bottles, shaker bottles. Yeah. Watch this business. I can't even imagine. I'm gonna have to buy this. It's going on my vision board. Ooh, did you see that stream? It was like geometric. And it switches. I'm impressed.
And again, just finishing up, type of kitchen-y area. I have a Lazy Susan, and I don't know about you and your kitchen in the corners and the Lazy Susans that they always try to use. But a lot of people are trying to figure out what to do with that space, right? So this option is fantastic. I mean, I would much rather have these drawers and rather than a Lazy Susan. So again, since I figured we were on kitchen space, I'd throw that in. But this is the last one now, I promise. We're going on to art.
This magic moment, so different and so new.
Okay, so this is the Mud Maid, and it's a living sculpture. And it's amazing how, as the seasons change, her outfit changes, right? So the green grass in the spring, and the moss, and then in the winter, everything dies, and her plants around her head are changed. And so it's just, it's something called living sculpture, which I thought was really, again, very nice to look at. It's something that changes and it's not all the time the same. So it's just an interesting thing to see. So again, I wanted to share that with everybody. Okay, now this is one of my favorites. I think everybody wants one of these, that's for sure. So this is a Narnia library closet, right? So you go into your armoire and you walk into this beautiful room, and who wouldn't want one of these, right? So when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, we have to show this as part of an art because it's just one of those things you want to have. So enjoy. This is a 3D transforming sculpture, and I've had something like this a little similar before where when you look at it from the front, it looks as one thing, but then when you look at it from the side, it's something else. So when I saw this, I was just amazed at how this can transform itself like this. So again, it's a 3D transforming sculpture. Enjoy. Okay, so now this is a 50-foot sculpture that was unveiled recently in South Dakota, and it's called Dignity. And it was created by an artist called Dale Lemfair, and to honor the women of the Sioux Nation. But the point of this whole thing was that we've never really heard much about this, right? Which I think is really just a shame. And it's a beautiful sculpture. It has meaning behind it, and you know, that's the least we could do is have this beautiful sculpture to look at and remind us of the Sioux Nation. And so I just wanted to pay respect to that when I saw this because I didn't really see anything about this in the news and so forth. And it definitely needs to be put out there. So I hope you like it. Okay, so this is going to be our last art before I show my pictures, which I do now every week. But this is such an amazing thing to me, illusion and perspective. And when you watch this, it's just you think you're looking at something and it's just amazing. But then when you pan yourself back and actually see what it is, it looks like something totally different. So it was really kind of fun to find this. And it's one of those things that it's just amazing. Okay, so I hope you liked that. And again, this week was all about dogs and where to bring them, and how there's other places you can bring dogs. That this area is a very dog-friendly area, and the condos have to catch up with what's going on and work together. And so anyway, so I'm going to leave you with that. And when I leave you now, I'm going to show you my pictures, and I hope you enjoy them. And we will see you next week. But before I go, if you do have any suggestions for episodes or if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at inthemiddlebdh, which stands for Boca Del Rey Highland Beach. So in the middle, bdh@gmail.com. I would love to hear any suggestions or feedback or have any more questions, and I'm here to answer them. So see you next week.